How's it going, everybody? It's been a while since I've done a video, but I figured this time I would do it on Luakit. I know there's a few videos out there about Luakit, but I figured I'd show you where to get the packages, how to customize. I've got a few interesting things to check out. So let's take a look at where to get it. I have an alias of y is the same as Yalwart. So I just do y and then Luakit. I can do the same thing. Luakit, and we look at there. We just install number 1 there, and when you get done with that, it's going to tell you to well, it installs it in the directory. So let's go to it, etc xdg Luakit, and let's list that out. We have binds, which is everything to do with how you interact with the browser using the keyboards. You can do shortcuts in there, binds to, say, open links in player instead of playing Flash videos. Globals for things like default screen size. I believe the default search engine is in there. Modes, I don't usually do anything with modes. RC Lua has things like following. You can adjust things like the following keys, which I'll talk about here in a bit. So what you want to do, you want to go back home. Working directory, so you want to be in your home directory. You want to make a directory in config called Luakit. I already have one, so I'm not going to do that. And then what you want to do is copy etc xdg Luakit and star, so you're copying all of these files, and you're going to copy it to config Luakit. No, I'm not going to do that because I have some custom stuff in there I don't want to overwrite. So once you do that, you are safe to start adjusting. So let's go ahead and run it. For those that don't know, this run dialog box is part of Awesome. It's called the prompt box. You initialize it by hitting mod key R. On a Mac, that's command R. On a PC, I believe it's Windows key R. And just type Lua and then tab over. So by default, you're going to be, it's a different, this is I changed the default homepage. But this is it pretty much. It fits really well with Awesome because there's no headers. It's extremely minimal. There's very little. You got a little bar down here that you interact with. Your tabs show up very minimally up at the top. Basically, it's all keyed off of Vim hotkeys. So and it all starts just like Vim. It starts with a colon, and you can tab through. Just hit tab, and it opens up all these different things. You can go to your downloads. All these are all your potential hotkeys. But we can go over. The big ones are things like. Let's see if we want to open, and so open just is by default goes to search. So if I just type in Luakit, it's going to go. Google is my default search engine, so it opens up a search. That's the most convenient thing I can think of, is just hit open and it searches. So then you can, F is to follow. I changed the keys from numbers to letters because it's much easier, I think. Then if you want to follow one of these, just type, like, I want to go to this one, so just type in JE. So this will be your home page when you first run Luakit. It's got a few things in here. Install instructions only if you're downloading direct from GitHub, so don't worry about that if you're on Arch and you do it through AUR. You've already done that. Quick start guide just talks about what all these different files do. What I just did is it's Shift H by default to go back, and Shift L. Well, you can see Shift L doesn't do anything. It's Shift K for me. I changed the bind. So Shift J for back and Shift K. We'll talk about how to do that in a minute. Community tracker. So here's where you can do, I've had a lot of trouble making ad block work, so I just kind of gave up on it. You got a beginner guide. One of the cool things I like is play videos in embedded player, KS. So let's explain something real quick here. So KS is the follow here, but it's also in this word, so it's going to highlight both of them. So in that case, you just tab through, Shift tab, tab, Shift tab, tab, go up and down, Shift tab to go back. And what that just did is I hit Shift F, and what that did is that means it's going to open. I'll do Shift F again, follow, but in a background tab. That means it's going to open in a new tab. You could either click on it or use Control Tab. So this is one of the functions. I didn't like it because it was URXVT. I use Xterm instead. It uses CC Live, and it downloads to your home directory and uses mPlayer to launch. So talk about how to get that running, as well as a second one. I didn't like using V because that's also used in words, and if you start typing and hit the V key, it'll try to download and it'll screw up all your typing. So I use things like capital Z and capital X, which are hardly ever used unless you type in X resources. But so I tried to use some kind of key here that's very rarely used. Capital Z, capital X work pretty well for me. So anyways, if I want to close that tab, just hit D. Yeah, so let's go ahead and let's work on the video, play video and embedded video and external player. So what this means is if I go to GB, which is get bookmark, follow IE for YouTube. I have a couple plugins here. I have a YouTube Black centered, and also when I click on it, unfortunately sometimes you have to use Flash, but I don't use it very much. I use this other thing. It automatically goes to full screen, as you see here.
It's Wednesday, February 27th, 2000.
So we're talking about user scripts. So yeah, so we'll get into the user scripts in a minute. But what I wanted to show you is what I do is you just, to play embedded videos in external player, you just go over the link. And mine is Shift Z. Opens up Xterm.
It's Wednesday, February 27th, 2013.
YouTube
and
Viewer
it's been
to
a long time since we've done this.
Uses YouTube Viewer to play it. No download. It plays it directly. Nothing's deposited on your system. But if you did want to, I have Shift X to actually use CC Live to download the video to your home directory. So if we go over here and do an LS, we're going to see it's downloading to my home directory. So what I'm going to do here is pkill CC Live to stop that, and I'm going to rm the next term, so ls, and it's gone. Okay. So let's talk about how to do that. So those types of things, as well as changing the back and forward, are in. Go ahead and maximize that. So if we want a cd to config Luakit ls, it's in binds. So we want to do vim binds.lua. And here they are. So I want to show you in context here. So add binds to special mode all with you want to put it under this section here. Sometimes if you do it out of order, like if you try to put it here, it might not work for you. So you go to put it below the add binds and copy these commands in. And the cool thing is that I have capital B opens a new tab for bookmarks. If we go down to paste bin, my paste bin, I have this here, and this will use capital Z. It'll use, we don't want to use UXRVT, sorry about that, change that. Let's do an edit. We want to use Xterm and Xterm. There we go, that's better. So it uses Xterm, opens YouTube Viewer on that URL. The second one, capital X, as you're hovering over the link, uses CC Live to download it. So there you go. You can paste that right into your config. And so what I just did is I hit the wrong button. So just to show you, say I hit Shift and L, and then I try to use my Shift K, which is forward. It's going to pile up in this commands line, so just hit exit, and then it should work again. So try not to get too frustrated on that kind of thing. So basically just go back in here and line 50, paste it on line 55, and you should be able to open those up. Obviously make sure YouTube Viewer and CC Live and mPlayer are installed. Okay? So there's your, and also on binds. So let's go down a bit and see what else I have. There's a few other things you want to look at here. Reduce zoom level. You can change all these keys. Anywhere that you see command mode, if you wanted to put that to comma or whatever, you could change, the interaction, like a Vim, has this interaction. You can change that. J and K, which are up and down. H and L, left and right, typical stuff. Also the up and down buttons work. Left and right on the keyboard. This is keyboard. Control Y, all these types of different things. So if we want to go down a little bit further, I can't remember where it is. Somewhere's in here. There we go. Okay, so here's where we go to history, and that's on line 339. I changed it from H and L, capital H and capital L, to J and K just because it's easier. So that's where you change. These are all things you can change. So if you want to go forward in the browser history, Control I, say you want that to be Control Y or whatever, you can change it here. Okay, so there's your interaction with the browser, how you make it work. So the next thing we want to go to is globals. So let's go to Vim, globals. So here's where you put in your home page. So there's why mine is that. Let's see here, what else did we do? So if you want default window size, so by default it's going to be a really small window. And even though I don't have it on maximize, which I use for tile 1, if we just do Luakit, it automatically pretty much fills my screen. And you do that by adjusting this. My screen is 1440 by 900, but we take up a few points here for this bar and this bar down here, so you can screw around with stuff like that. Not sure, you can use all these different search engines. You can, the default is, let's see, the default, where does it say it's default? Search engines. So somewhere in here you can change, oh here we go, search engines Google. So you can change it to whatever you want. DuckDuckGo, GitHub, Google, Wikipedia, whatever you want. So that's your globals. The Vim, the RC, and so we got a few things in here that you can do. This is pulling in all your globals and window and modes and bind, so it's calling in all those other deals there. You can play with proxies. So here's where you change this local S. This is going to be commented. When you open this up, it's going to be commented, and it's going to have some kind of random letters in here. I just picked SDF, ER, and JKLUI just because they are really close to where your fingers are. I mean, you don't have to, I don't want a bunch of Z's and Q's and P's and all that stuff in there because you got to move your fingers around. So my hands are already there, so I'm going to cancel out of that. So that's where you change that. And so other than that, okay, so let's open Luakit and do user scripts. So if we go back here and we follow the community wiki, I believe it is, and we go down to the bottom, we go to user scripts, KE, and we go to JR, user scripts. Highly recommend that you bookmark this like I have. Bookmarked, userscripts.org, very nice. And so basically, if we want to look at what user scripts I have enabled, I have YouTube Black, Resize, and YouTube Center. So when I go to YouTube, that's G capital B. If I go to YouTube, like I said, it's going to be centered. It's going to have the black background, and when I go to a link, it's going to be resized. So those are the three that I have installed.
It's Wednesday, February 27, 2013.
Shift J to go back, D to close the window. So pretty much you just DS. So you hit enter, and now obviously, okay, one of the things, see, watch the pointer. I can hit escape. The pointer, or the cursor is still blinking, but when I type, you can see it's going down here. It's thinking you want to issue a command. And you're saying, why isn't it working? Well, it's not an insert mode, so watch what happens. So the cursor is still blinking. Once I hit I insert, you can do YouTube black. Hit enter, and this is the one I have installed, so you just follow that LD, follow the FD to install, go here, user, tab, userscripts install, and I already have it installed, but it says installed userscripts to local share Luakit, and that's it. That's all you need to do. So let's go ahead and get bookmark, go to IE YouTube, and that will, the YouTube dark, it'll be white and it'll load, you'll see it load and it'll work. So you do the same thing with back, and back one more time. You do another search ES, and you want to do something like YouTube center. YouTube center aligned. What I usually do, if there's a whole bunch of them, you got a whole bunch of this stuff in here. Let's see which one I have installed, because I screwed around with them. Sometimes YouTube center 1.3, so I believe I usually go for the one with the most reviews. So let's follow the JD. That one might be good. You can take a look at some of the, the looks. Yeah. Sure, looks okay. You can try that one. I played around with them, a few of them before I found one I liked, and I believe it's. If you're not sure, what I usually do is go to fans, JF, and YouTube center. I mean, that's probably a pretty safe bet there. Damn it, wrong one. Back, follow, KF, and I believe that's, yeah. So YouTube center 1.30, 1.2. Yeah, so that's the one I have installed. And so it's usually, just like anything else, it's rated up. So it works really well. Get bookmark, obviously. It's always centered. And you just can't complain about that. So yeah, that's most of the functionality for Luakit. And if you want to obviously leave, it's :Q. If you want to... say you want to, I don't know, want to open up a bunch of them, :W, :W. So that's how you get a bunch of these open, and that's pretty cool because you can have a whole bunch of stuff running. So just Control Q out of or :Q out of all those, and that's about it. If you have any questions about Luakit, let me know. Take care.